Episode 19. See, I mean, we're already off to a great start. If that's how I'm starting off the show, let's have some fun with it, right? I mean, we're already a day late. We're about 24 hours late from it. So, full disclosure, I feel like, Matt, well, I feel like we're the show of honesty, right? I mean, let's just be honest with the audience. I was ready to record yesterday, and then all of a sudden, the Houston Astros say, "Hey, Dusty Baker press conference." So had to go do that. Conflicts later on in the day, but here we are, Friday, better late than never, and we are ready to deliver some winners for you. Does that pretty much sum it up, Matt?
Pretty much sums it up. Winners. That's what people want, and that's what we'll give them.
All right, there we go. He's Matt Maltepes. He's the animal. I'm Dan Mathews. I'm the Dan Mathews part of this. Full disclosure, too, as well. We could possibly have a special cameo. You hear him up there, my little nephew Rory, running around. So if we do, then that's an extra bonus for everybody out there. Matt, let's start it off with one of the games of the weekend that people are really looking forward to. It's the annual trip down to Jacksonville for Georgia and Florida, and it is the whatever the hell rivalry game people want to call it. If you're in Georgia, it's the Georgia-Florida game. If you're in Florida, it's the Florida-Georgia game. But nonetheless, it's the Dogs minus 14 and a hook for this one. The Gators on the money line, plus 460. So not really expecting that to be much of a value for you. Very much a long shot if you're picking the Gators to pull off the upset in this one. The over-under is 49 and a hook. I want you to break it down before I kind of give my thoughts on this.
It's a spread, but they do have a 6-point margin of victory. Had an easy schedule this year. Some of those fights are cupcake schedule. Florida Africans into this team 3-4 spread. Georgia has, thus far, they've faced faster-paced teams in Florida, versus an average rank of 65 in seconds per play. With that said, Florida ranks 101 in seconds per play. Florida has some solid wins, South Carolina and Tennessee. It's not my favorite game on the board here. Initially, I thought it possibly could be an under, but the way Florida's defense has performed the last couple of weeks, 2 out of the last 3 games, it makes me a little bit hesitant. I mean, they let up 33 points to Kentucky and 39 points to South Carolina. This is a game I'd rather stay away from.
Yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of different things there. And, you talk about it from the over-under perspective. And I would think that probably you would think that Georgia has the ability to score more points than Florida does in this one. So if you skew over, I think that probably you would have to skew Georgia minus 14 and a hook. But I've been around this, excuse me, where we're killing it this morning. I've been around this game a long time, and I have seen the weird wackiness and zaniness that is this game. Like last year, where it looked like Georgia was going to run away with it, and then Florida came back with a strong second half. Georgia still won the game, but they weren't able to cover the spread. In this one right here, 14 and a half. I mean, I don't know. I'm going to have to think on it because I could see it going, and I'm going to Mike Francesa this thing right here. I could see him winning this game, could see him losing this game. No, I could see me taking Florida plus 14 and a half, and then Georgia wins, and I'm like, you dummy. You should have gone with Georgia on this one. And then I can also see myself falling for the trap door of taking Georgia 14 and a hook, and they win this game by 10, 11. And I'm like, yep, there it is. Again, I fell for it, and the double dare slime got me. So, it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation with this game. All right. Geez. Let's move on to Oklahoma and Kansas for this one. Yeah, CNT this early in the morning, right? Oklahoma and Kansas for this one. 9.5 Sooners on the road. Here's where it gets interesting for you, Matt. Plus 280 on the money line for the Jayhawks. I don't think anybody's picking the Jayhawks to win this game. But over-under of 66 for this one. I think there's some juicy numbers in there. How you looking at this?
So I'm kind of feeling what you're saying. Oklahoma comes into this game with the best against the spread record in the nation. It's 6-1. They currently have the 4th best margin of victory and 3rd best against the spread plus minus. Meanwhile, Kansas 3-4 against the spread, only an 8-point margin of victory, and that's exactly why Oklahoma's laying turn on the road in this. Oklahoma had a huge win this 2 weeks ago, but they scale last week when they versed Central Florida. Only 1 points. Kansas, on the other hand, they absolutely smoked UCF 51-22, but Kansas also got smoked by Texas, who Oklahoma just took out. So Kansas coming off a tough loss to Oklahoma State by 1 score. When we look at Oklahoma's opponents, only one team is ranked worse than Kansas in the opponent yards per play metric. That was Tulsa, and Oklahoma put up 66 on them. So, meanwhile, when we look at Kansas, one more thing is they're ranked next to UCF's offensive yards per play metric, and UCF put up 30 points on Oklahoma. So, like you said, I'm expecting some points in this one. I'm looking at the over 5.
So you're going the over in this one. You were kind of cutting out there at a second.
Yes, sir.
All right, so liking
yes,
the
I'm
over.
looking to bet the over 65, over 66.
Oh, over 65, 66. There you go. So you like the over for that one. Let's move it along here and talk Kentucky, Tennessee. Going to be in Lexington for this one. The Vols only a 3.5-point favorite for this one. Now, we've seen a couple of different Kentucky teams this year. We've seen ones that can put up points, and we've seen one that can have some serious points put up on them. But the Vols, the 3.5-point favorite. Now, here's where the money line comes into play, plus 150 for Kentucky. I think they're kind of tempting you right there, saying, hey, think about it a little bit, especially after the Vols coming off of an emotional loss last week to Alabama. Could that have a hangover effect for them? And then the over-under is 51 in a hook for this one. How are you reading this one?
Volunteers going to this one spread 0.1 margin of victory. However, they also have a negative 3.4 against the spread plus minus. Kentucky 4-3 against the spread. They have a worse margin of victory, actually at 7.7. Line's currently a 3.5 for Tennessee favored. Kentucky actually higher than the yards per play metric, which is a little surprising. Tennessee has had a better defense thus far, though, ranking 11th in the nation in opponent yards per play. Tennessee, they've had a pretty tough strength of schedule this year. They rank outside the top 10 in strength of schedule, while Kentucky hasn't even had a top 60 strength of schedule according to my rankings. Tennessee is not, they had a chance to not only cover last week against Alabama, but I think they had a chance to win, but we if this hits the key number, such a key number, if you can get 3 on Tennessee, I think it's the right side, but as of now, I haven't touched anything.
All right, so if it goes down to 3, take Tennessee. I like that. That should almost be a T-shirt right there. Goes to 3, take Tennessee. All right, final one for you here. It is going to be where College Game Day is going to be tomorrow in Salt Lake City. Utah hosting Oregon. This is a Utah team that went on the road last week and got a nice win over USC. And this is an Oregon team that's trying to stay alive for their college football playoff hopes after going on the road and losing to Washington. Ducks a 6.5-point road favorite. I mean, look, before you even get going, I like that 6.5, especially too with at times how Utah has struggled offensively this year. The Utes plus 200 on the money line, and the over-under is 47 and a hook. Matt, break it down for us, buddy.
Yeah, I'm definitely leaning Oregon, but I haven't touched that. I'm looking actually more towards the total. Right from the gate, we know these defenses for both teams. I mean, they're pretty damn good. What you don't know, though, is Bo Nix has played defenses that have been not so good. They've been pretty bad. The average rank of their opponents and their opponent yards per play metric comes out to an average rank of 90 in the nation. Utah will be the best defense. They versed in that metric by far, and this is also the slowest team that Oregon will have versed, and it's not even close in that metric in seconds per play. Oregon loves to throw the ball. Utah's 8th best in sack percentage while being a top 25 defense in opponent passer rating. Utah is also the worst team that Oregon would have faced in the offensive yards per play. The only team that is ranked closely to Utah that Oregon has faced would be Stanford, and they only put up 6 points. Meanwhile, on Utah's side, not many of their opponents have had great defenses either. If you look at the 2 teams that did, it was Oregon State and UCLA, and those games ended up in scores of 21-7 and 14-7, way under the posted totals. So I love the under 48 here, and that's what I went big on, actually.
Under 48. Interesting. All right, so it's going to be a little bit of a slog there in Salt Lake City. All right, we overcame a lot here. We overcame a fumble on the opening drive in terms of coming out the gate. Very first play. It's scripted too. That's the beauty of the beginning of games is those plays are scripted, so you shouldn't have a fumbled snap. But we had a little bit of crud in the throat. We persevered, Matt Maltepes. That's what we did today, and we got the people what they wanted, so we gave them the episode 19. You know how we do things around here. Episode 20 coming your way on Tuesday. Episode 21 coming your way on Thursday. And baby Rory up there, he sure loves hearing all of that as well. So, Matt Maltepes, appreciate it, buddy. Good luck this weekend. Good luck to all of you out there as well. I'm Dan Mathews. He's Matt Maltepes. This is the Dan Mathews and the Animals show. Of course, you point this way is for him. We're inverted around here. Whatever. Let's just get out of here. Matt, enjoy the weekend, buddy. We'll talk later.
Sounds good.